Bonjour! Today nous sommes chez moi. We are at my home, dans ma cuisine. We are with my friend Katie and we're going to talk about wine etiquette, l'étiquette du vin. Katie is going to introduce herself.
My name is Katie and I'm the founder of an Instagram page and blog called French Wine Tutor, where I teach people everything about French wine specifically and fun little etiquette and other know-how.
Amazing. And today we're going to go over like basic wine etiquette because I think not everyone knows and that's completely fine. And it's great to always be interested in this aspect of la culture française, of French culture. But first, we need our wine glasses. Nos verres à vin. They are not the fanciest. They will do, I think. Parfait. Speaking of wine glasses, like how many sorts of wine glasses are there?
So many. I just love a classic, simple, universal glass. Honestly, like this one because you can taste anything in it.
Oui, tu peux tout goûter avec. You can taste everything and it fits for everything. Le verre à vin, is there a certain way to hold it correctly?
Yes, exactly how you're holding it. By the stem.
I was told that, like, for example, le vin blanc, white wine, and le champagne is always by the stem. But we told me that pour le vin rouge, for red wine, you could hold it by the glass.
I've never heard that before.
Okay, that's interesting. Quelles sont les parties, en fait, du verre à vin? The parts of the glass of wine. On va voir une image. We see an image now of the different parts of the glass of wine. Sur l'image, on voit que la partie en bas, the bottom place, c'est la base. So it's the base. Le pied. So the foot.
Less sense.
I would say the foot.
Leg.
Yeah. Round circle right under here, c'est le bouton, which is intéressant aussi. In English, what is?
I have never identified in English the individual parts of a wine glass. I've literally just known base, stem, like bowl.
Yeah, the bowl, I guess, is le gobelet. Or le ballon. Mais c'est intéressant, tous les mots techniques, all the technical words there are pour un verre à vin.
Yeah, I know.
For a glass of wine. On va prendre la bouteille de vin. We're gonna take the bottle of wine. I didn't even tell you what I got.
Oh yeah, because you were gonna get...
Yeah, but I couldn't find it. J'ai pris du muscadet.
J'adore le muscadet.
Sèvres et Maine. So pour ceux qui connaissent pas, for those of you who don't know ce vin blanc, how would you describe it simply?
Oh man, beautiful, beautiful, light, mineral wine from the Loire Valley in France. So on the western side, La Loire. One of my personal favorite places because it has such a diversity of wines. So if you're ever looking for something unique or different, go to the Loire Valley.
C'est une belle région. It's a beautiful region.
Very beautiful.
And it's also one of my favorite white wines. I also like le Riesling, so from the other region, plutôt vers Strasbourg, Alsace.
Alsace.
And I like le Gewürztraminer. So it's...
okay. Gewürztraminer, it's very like... polarizing. People either love it or they hate it.
Yeah, pas d'entre-deux. There's no in between. And speaking of the wine bottle, comment est-ce qu'on lit l'étiquette? How do we read a wine label for people who don't know?
Wine labels look different in every single country, whether you're drinking a French wine in France or drinking a French wine in the US, for example. French wine in general follows the same rule for labeling in that it's the appellation that you see at the front.
Yes. What do we have here? Definitely. How would you say cépage in English?
Grape variety.
Grape variety.
It's the appellation that comes first because in France the tradition is the region is the most important and the grape is less important.
No, c'est super intéressant because I always thought that wine labels were universal, that they were the similar everywhere and that the region, in my opinion, is very important. But as you were saying, aux États-Unis and the US, c'est d'abord la variété de raisin. It's first the grape variety. Would you know how it is in other countries?
In places like Italy, it's very similar to France. Throughout Europe, you see this, except on Alsace.
Why is Alsace an exception?
I don't know why,
but
it really is, but they will label by the grape variety. So you'll see Riesling d'Alsace on an Alsace label.
Wait, let me see. I have another wine. Wow, it looks like I'm such a wine person. But
yeah, you do. You have all these bottles of wine, right?
I have all these bottles of wine, but that's because I don't drink too much. Appellation Alsace contrôlée. Yeah, we don't know why Alsace is the exception. I visited it, but not pour le vin. Not pour le vin.
Okay,
but I
so you
visited,
have to go back.
and yeah, I have to go back to visit the wine. But I visited it definitely. I saw all the vineyards. I really like the cities there and Strasbourg.
Yes.
It feels like on a l'impression qu'on n'est pas en France.
Oui,
Right?
un peu, oui.
It feels like un mélange entre l'Allemagne et la France, a mix between Germany and France, which is very special.
It's unique.
I think that's the beautiful thing about wine as well, is that you're able to discover plein de régions en France, like many regions in France.
Absolutely.
It's not just the tasting of the wine, trying as many bottles as you can. It's more about the story behind each bottle and the story behind each region. I'm someone who loves, les histoires derrière les produits, and everything qui est local, that needs to be local. And so I think wine is a beautiful representation of that.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah, there was there's a famous sommelier in the US, and he had a series on CNN, and the opening line of that series was that he originally thought wine was just like a beverage, but in actuality it's everything cultural. So it's history, it's language, it's music, it's cultural tradition, it's food, it's everything it's farming, it's all of these things that make up a specific region's culture, and their wine is an expression of that culture. So
yeah, and I completely agree, because I would say I'm not a heavy drinker of alcohol itself. Je ne bois pas beaucoup d'alcool, but the fact that wine is all of this en plus, and that it really represents aussi la culture française, French culture, and you can feel like you're traveling when you understand the story behind each bottle, and then when people tell you to imagine the smells, and if you're in the forest, dans la forêt, you can feel like you're transported.
Yes, exactly.
Right? I don't know if it's happened to you, but
totally.
it's happened to me.
Yeah, you smell something, and the wines from Bourgogne have a very distinct. They're normally Pinot Noir, and the reds.
Très bons.
And oh my god, they're so good. But they have this very distinct aroma that's forest floor, and you feel like you're in the forest.
Exactly.
It's
you
crazy.
Feel like you're transported, and I think especially in a tasting, when you have someone accompany you and they have this ASMR calming voice, and then you feel like you're transported there.
You're inspiring me to start a business.
It would have started here, right? I mean, exactly. It can. Yeah. What else can we find on a bottle? So we see le cépage, la région.
Yes, so you see the region and the appellation. Here you have récolte 2023.
So we have the harvest, récolte 2023.
Yes.
Et là, tout en bas, at the bottom, I can see récolté, vinifié, élevé au domaine.
Harvested, vinified, and aged at the domaine. So that means it's a very good domaine. Sometimes a lot of people would say it would affect the quality of the wine. A winemaker makes their own grapes, and then sometimes they will sell the grapes to a larger house, and then that house will make their own wine from other people's grapes. But this domaine harvest the grapes themselves, and then they make the wine, and then they age the wine.
So they
all
do
in-house.
They do the whole process themselves in-house.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is also something you don't see very often on American labels, but on French labels you would see.
Yes, you always see it. On le voit chaque fois. Yeah. Et derrière and behind, what do we have?
Thing about, sometimes the winemaker or their marketing team will write something about the specific wine, what it pairs well with, and then by law it's required to have the percentage of alcohol.
Oui, a little QR code that shows us les ingrédients, nutrition, the ingredients.
Ingredients, raisins, no.
Yeah, ingredients, grapes. And for people, pour les gens qui connaissent pas le vin, what would you say are good starter wines? For example, for peut-être les vins blancs, white wines.
Muscadet.
Okay, muscadet.
Muscadet is great. A Chablis or a Petit Chablis.
Ah, Petit Chablis, j'adore. Et pour les vins rouges, for the red wines.
Les vins rouges.
Je préfère le vin blanc. I prefer white wine, but maybe we have le Pinot Noir.
Yeah, I would say a Bourgogne Rouge. Just a red from Burgundy, or Beaujolais. I love Beaujolais. I'm a huge
That was
fan.
the name of my first dog as a child.
Really?
My father named him Beaujolais, and then we called him Bobby. And then people would ask him what's his name, and Beaujolais, it was his name. It's very original.
Oh my god, I love this.
Your next dog will be called Beaujolais.
Yeah.
Those are good wines to start with.
Côte du Rhône.
Oui, from where I'm from, Rhône-Alpes.
Ah.
I'm from Lyon. Je suis de Lyon, du coup, Rhône-Alpes, c'est ma région. How do I know if a wine is a good wine or a bad wine when you taste it, maybe dans une brasserie or in a restaurant?
It's a good wine if you enjoy it.
Ah, that's le plus important, the most important. The more you get to know wines, the more you will know what you like as well, right?
Totally.
Because you can't just base it on the first one or two. Because I have some friends who have just had wine like a couple of times, and each time it wasn't the best experience. Et c'est dommage, it's a shame to like completely stop drinking wine just because of the first few experiences. So.
Yeah, keep trying, keep tasting, and you know, you'll find all kinds of things that you like, and try not to discriminate against like type or grape variety, or this is advice for myself also. Yes.
Now the juicy part. How do we open une bouteille de vin? How do we open a wine bottle?
Oh man. Okay, well, this is great.
Should we do it at the same time?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So you'll see on every wine opener, there's this knife, there's this little pulley, and then there is the actual corkscrew. The first one that you go after is the knife. But actually, you don't need that here because this bottle already has a pull tab.
Yeah, because usually the first one is the knife that we twist around.
Yes.
Normally there's the two, and then so we put on the first one, like above the first.
So the wine industry is mixed on this.
Okay.
I actually use the bottom one because...
I use the bottom one, celui-là en dessous.
Yeah,
okay.
Because this is kind of tricky.
Deuxième étape.
You put the corkscrew at the top. You secure it into the top.
Tu vis. You just wind it in.
Seems to be working.
Easy to do. Voilà, parfait.
Yes.
Et les Français, French people, on adore avoir des vins frais, like fresh wines pour l'apéritif.
Yeah, exactly.
Pour l'apéro, or like surtout en ce moment, especially now en été.
Yes.
C'est parfait.
Chaud.
Oui, il fait chaud. C'est le moment parfait. It's the perfect time to actually appreciate this wine. There are a lot of expectations about wine. And we always think we can drink certain wines at certain time, or we can drink certain wines in certain conditions, you know, in places. Mais pas du tout. En fait, quand tu aimes vraiment un vin, peu importe. It doesn't matter too much. Pourquoi est-ce que le monde du vin, ou le vin en général, wine in general, c'est très important dans la culture française? It's very important in French culture.
Culture française. It's true. I think it's because it's an expression of the land, of French territory, and French people take it very seriously because I mean that's not just true for wine, it's also true for butter and cheese.
I did a video in Saint-Malo about l'importance du beurre. Importance of butter. Oui, c'est pareil pour beaucoup de choses. Le vin, c'est quand même un des plus importants, je trouve. On en parle beaucoup, we talk about it a lot.
And it's the spirit of sharing. It's for sharing, it's for your friends, your family, your significant other.
Et ça s'associe aux souvenirs. Like you think about souvenirs, you think about the people who mean a lot to you, des gens qui t'apportent, and you know, ramener une belle bouteille, to bring a nice bottle. It's also to spend lovely time together with that person.
Exactly.
Donc vraiment, I think le mot convivialité is one of the big ones, I think, pour 100%. Le vin. And I also want to say that, like, no matter where you are in your wine journey, wine etiquette journey, I think le plus important, c'est d'être curieux et d'avoir un esprit ouvert, to be curious and be open-minded, and to just do as you feel, right? I think you shouldn't feel overwhelmed. Il faut pas avoir peur, en fait, de ce monde du vin ou genre du monde de la culture française et de l'étiquette française of French etiquette. C'est vraiment... faut faire comment tu le sens et rester curieux. J'espère que vous allez goûter du vin dans le futur. I hope you will drink wine in the future.
Yes, please.
And I wanted to say thank you for all the tips you gave us, pour tous les conseils que vous nous avez donnés aujourd'hui. So nice having you here today to talk about le monde du vin.
Merci beaucoup, ça fait plaisir.
Ouais, j'adore, ça fait plaisir. Et maintenant, on va goûter ce vin. Donc,
eh oui. Santé.
Donc, santé.
Santé.
Santé. Voilà. I hope that these French etiquette tips will be useful to you. Next time you're in a French brasserie or in a brasserie, you'll know exactly what to do. And just remember that il n'y a pas de règles fixes. There's no exact rules. There are general rules which are used to be respected when you're in a country. But at the end of the day, like we talked about, ça dépend vraiment de toi. It depends on you et le vin que tu aimes bien et les verres que tu aimes bien and the wine that you like and the glasses that you like to use them. Ça dépend de toi. If you have more questions about wine etiquette or wine in general,
Écris-moi sous les commentaires. Tell me in the comments. Je lirai tout. I will read everything and I will try to reply to the ones that are relevant to wine etiquette or perhaps what type of wines that I recommend ou mes conseils en vin. I would love to reply to all of that. And if you don't want to miss next week's video about cheese etiquette, le fromage que j'adore, that I absolutely love, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. I'm so happy to see you in the next video. J'ai trop hâte de vous retrouver. And me and May wish you une très belle journée, a beautiful day, or une très belle soirée, a beautiful evening. Merci beaucoup et santé!
Bonjour, je cherche une bouteille de vin blanc.
Ouais. Est-ce que vous aimez quelque chose de bien sec ou un peu fruité?
Quelque chose sec, frais, léger, avec des notes un peu fruitées.
Alors, là on est sur du chenin. Donc le chenin c'est quand même ce cépage assez fruité, assez floral. Donc ça, sinon du muscadet, donc ça va être un peu plus citronné, un peu plus acidulé.
Vous me conseillez lequel?
Ça dépend un petit peu des goûts. Moi j'aime beaucoup le muscadet aussi parce que c'est le côté très citronné.
Je vais partir sur le muscadet.
Ouais.
Hein.
Est-ce qu'il vous faut autre chose?
Non, ça ira.
Alors, 17 € s'il vous plaît.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci en tout cas.
Merci.
Bonne journée.